Good evening and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV, your destination for in-depth conversation on issues around politics, policy and governance. I'm Hamza Idris. Tonight we analyze the shifting political terrain in the country with the frenzy about the coming together of opposition forces under the ADC coalition and its rhetoric aimed at galvanizing the support of disenchanted citizens ahead of the 2027 election. On the other hand, the ruling APC government under President Tinubu appears to have entered a panic mode, retracing its step and making amends on the deepening gap it created with its major support base, the northern part of the country, largely considered the swing region that could decide the fate of any presidential contender. To analyze the shifting landscape and politics of 2027 is a professor of political science and former national chairman of the NNPP, Professor Rufa'i Ahmed Alkali. Thank you very much for coming to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. Also, some leading civil rights activists on Monday took to the streets to demand better welfare for retired officers of the Nigerian police force. The activists say they are seeking a better deal for the erstwhile police officers, having given their all for the peace and security of the nation, but left in deplorable state of service. In the second part of Daily Politics tonight, we'll be engaging with a retired senior police officer on the desirability of the struggle in the face of deepening hardship in the country. Retired Assistant Inspector General of Police Wilson Inelogo will join us live in the studio shortly. But before we engage with the conversation, is the Labour Party turning a corner in its bid to reconcile the warring faction? Its presidential running mate, Baba Ahmed, is taking the bull by the horn. Let's take a look.
Without much ado, I want to proceed to the resolution adopted, the 5, condemn the convenance of the meeting and thereafter disassociated itself and the party from the outcome of the so-called NEC meeting, where they renamed their illegal committee set up in Umuahia last year as Interim National Working Committee. NEC notes that no matter how illegality is decorated, no matter how illegality is redesigned, is renamed, it can never become legal. Renaming the Caretaker Committee as Interim National Working Committee of Labour Party does not remove its illegality. This sitting contravenes the provisions of our Constitution by virtue of Article 14(4)(b). It is only the National Secretary, with the approval of the National Chairman.
My co-travelers, my leaders, state chairmen, secretaries, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and the media force. Good afternoon to all of us. I am highly honored to be accorded the privilege of attending this important meeting. Labour Party is not a party to walk away from. The successes, the history that Labour Party of Nigeria has recorded is unique and unprecedented. We presented clear records and evidence of 10 million votes scored in the last election, thereafter reduced to 6.1 million votes.
That was Senator Datti Baba Ahmed, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party. As we said earlier, we have in the studio Professor Rufa'i Alkali. He's a man of many caps. Of course, he had served as the former National Publicity Secretary of the PDP. He was a governorship aspirant in 2011 in Gombe State.
Yes.
He had served as special advisor to President Jonathan on political affairs before you moved to NNPP. But I know that you are now a chieftain of the APC.
Thank you very much.
Yes, once again, welcome to the program. Let me quickly start with what Datti Baba Ahmed and the chairman of that faction of the Labour Party. It appears almost all the opposition political parties are trying to hold the rope, maybe to get a sense of direction as to how to tackle your new party, the APC. How will you describe what they are doing?
Well, thank you very much, Alhaji Hamza. Today I'm here with you.
Yes, after more than a year.
Over a year.
Yes.
Actually, for over 2 years, I've not spoken on anything except the usual condolences or greetings on special occasions. Normally, I resisted the temptation to go into unnecessary, a long talk and the rest of it. But I think it's about time we also speak. Now, what is happening in the Labour Party should not come as a surprise. It's also happening in other political parties, smaller ones and even bigger ones. So, and one of the biggest problems that can happen to any political party is for it to be factionalized. Once it is factionalized with contending forces claiming ownership of the party, instead of adopting internal mechanism for conflict resolution, you end up going to courts. And that's the end of most of these political parties. They find it difficult.
They will really survive it?
Not, they will survive, but on the fringe, because every now and then there's somebody who will be making claims that they are the original owner of the party, they are the leaders of the party, and the contestation is usually, it drags the party backward, not forward. It takes time.
Even though you are a man of few words, and as you rightly said, for over 2 years you didn't grant an interview. But then here we are with you in the studio. Are you satisfied with the level of approach by both the ruling party and the opposition party to nurturing our nascent democracy?
Well, you see, I often say this when I come to interviews with you and other platforms, that Nigerians love democracy, very passionate about it. And similarly, Nigerians love multi-party democracy because it gives opportunity for people, to decide which platform they can use as vehicle for mobilizing or for contesting for election or for working for the country. So it is normal when you have multi-party system. Each political party will try to assert itself, and either before, during, or even after elections. So what is happening now on the ground is there is not something that is new. Remember, there was a time this country had a total of over 93 political parties. 93. 93. That was what we went for the election, I believe, in 2015. But later on, after the election, the INEC, in their own wisdom, they used their own benchmarks to reduce the number to 18. Some may say 19 because one political party went to court and got included. So, but again, after the 2023 elections, you can see that maybe about 10 political parties did not win any electoral seats. So they are now on the fringe. Unless they do something in the coming election before general elections, most of them will find themselves going out of the register of the INEC, and that is also bad for them. So what is happening now is that even before the tempo of election for 2027 starts, already you can see all this contestation, like I mentioned, everybody trying to assert himself. Most of the political parties, they have this kind of problem, but some have the capacity and ability to manage their internal issues. Some find it difficult.
And some finding it difficult. This takes me to PDP, the party you were part and parcel of forming, and the party that actually you also use to hold key positions. As I said, you were its publicity secretary at a time, a governorship aspirant at a time, a special advisor at a time. But here we are now. Many believe or thought that PDP should endure up to this moment. But it appears that its fortune has been taken over by ADC. Because if you are to Google now, you will see more of ADC than PDP. Is this really good for the opposition parties?
Well, unfortunately, the time we have constrained us to go deep into analyzing these issues. Yeah. But the story of PDP is a long one. What only I can say for the purpose of this our conversation is that you know that in 1998, in the run-up to the 1999 general elections, leaders, political leaders in this country put themselves together and in a very unusual manner. Why unusual? Because some of them were from NPN, the Alhaji Adamu Chiroma, and he was from NPN. Professor Abubakar was from NPN, was even a minister of defense at one time. Then some came from NPP.
Like Solomon
the
chairman, yes.
Then some came from PRP, our respected leaders, Sule Lamido and Abubakar Rimi. They were the people who were holding PRP together. And then Bola Ige from UPN. Imagine all of them abandoning their own rivalry, all politics. They came together and put Nigeria first. And of course, I shouldn't forget Dr. Ade Sekweme, who was the vice president under Shagari. They are the people who put themselves together and said, look, they needed to create a new political structure that will now offer Nigerians hope after the military exited. And this was the party that actually they handed over to General Olusegun Obasanjo to become the presidential candidate, and then he won in 1999 and then sworn as president of the country. So you could see all those leaders, the first G8 and then G34, most of them are not alive. Most of them are not alive. And those that are alive, I'm not too sure. The PDP as it is, as they know it, is what they're expecting to happen to the party. So I think over the years, after the several elections, maybe some of the leaders of the PDP started forgetting the origin, the sacrifices that were made to build the party in the first place, and then internal squabbles, internal conflicts, personalizing issues. In fact, even before the recent events, way back before 2008, when we became the National Public Secretary, by the time we took over in March 2008, already most of the founding fathers have been aged out. I could remember Solomon La was almost frustrated. Abubakar Rimi was frustrated. Many of them were on the fringe. So it means that new people emerge who became very strong and very powerful and gradually begin to forget the ideals of the party. Could
that be the reason you also left? And of course, you now put your strength together with Konkoso, I know at the time. You were its chairman when that handshake across the Niger, because you went across the Niger to take NNPP, which took many people by surprise, especially in Kano, that you even have a governor.
No, I think what is happening is that by the year 2000, I think, after the 2019 elections, most people were getting worried about the direction of most of the political parties, especially leading political parties, the APC and the PDP. So there was this notion and there was this call by people that why should you keep quiet and leave this thing to continue? So, and that is how I believe Senator Konkoso looked for me and asked me that I should be a chairman of a committee to steer the ideals and prospect of bringing something new to the country to remobilize Nigerians. So I think we did it in good faith. He invited me, and I have this tradition, and whenever I'm invited to do any job that I believe in, I do it honestly, diligently, and we did our best, creating a national movement. Later on, it was we had a merger in March 2022, and then that is how I emerged as a national chairman. And our focus was to bring something new, something fresh to the country, and we did our best. And after the 2023 general elections, After reviewing the situation of event before, during, and after the election, I felt that I have done my best, and I think I should move on.
People were shocked because you were able to midwife that party to win Kano, the second largest state in terms of vote bank, and of course you made inroads in neighboring Katsina, Jigawa, Bauchi, in fact across the north and some few states in the south. You were able to get some votes. But when you announced your resignation, many people thought that it was really shocking. And why did you take that decision? Since you are coming out from your, safe zone now. Maybe you will say a word or two on that.
Well, if you have ever read about Kodak, the man who discovered the camera and the photography as we know it.
Yes.
After perfecting the technology, he went to his doctor and asked, please, why is my heart? And the doctor was wondering, why should you ask why your heart is? He said, no, I just asked you, why is my heart? Tell me why it is. So the doctor told him, this is a place. So he went down, went home and took a piece of paper and wrote, my job is done, why wait? And he took a gun and shot himself. He committed suicide. That's it. So I did not commit political suicide, but I felt that whenever you are given an assignment and you think you have done your best, it's better also to bow out.
Meaning living when the ovation is...
Absolutely, yes. In any case,
high.
Maybe
case, as a professor of political science, you foresaw that even the NNPP will be bedeviled by crisis, because I don't know which one has severe or chronic element between Labour Party and NNPP.
Well, I think I'm not a magician, so I wouldn't have foreseen what was going to happen subsequently. But all I know is that at the time, after the elections, we also consulted with many people. I did not take most of this decision alone. We have people at home, we have friends, and nationwide, at a state level. And we concluded the best decision for me at that time was to step aside.
Why are you not driven by what will come? Because most politicians, after they invest, they will now say, okay, it's time to reap from what he invested. And you didn't bother. Maybe you have more than enough in your bank account.
Well, I don't know. I never went into politics because of money. No, I didn't. If I wanted money, I shouldn't have gone into politics, because there, even if you get the money, you spend it there and leave it there. So I think it was passion to fight for our country. And we believe that this country needs to move on. Because I have told you this when I came the last time here, that most of us are being accused that after getting education from the government, from the state, you become a professor, you go and teach, and then after you retire, you go home and say there is no water in your village, no electricity, no this, no, and you begin to complain about the system. The question is that what have you done for the system while you had the opportunity to also stand up and speak and contribute? So for us now, effectively, I'm discharging responsibility of an academic, which means to teach, to do research, and do community service. Of course, I know politics is hazardous, it's dangerous. Some people even describe it as dirty. I don't believe it's dirty, but some people believe that. So, but if we don't do that, we don't talk, we don't say anything, we don't do anything, we lose the moral right also to challenge the system.
Okay, but are you comfortable in APC now, Prof?
Again, like I said, after I left the NNPP, one of the thing that came to my mind was to leave politics completely.
Okay.
Yes, because I thought I have done my best in PDP. And then, in 2017, you didn't ask that question. I know it's part of the question you wanted to ask. We had to leave PDP because of so many factors that I cannot discuss here. And Professor Jerigana,
yeah,
who was the founding secretary of the PDP, and Professor Tunde Aderan, Shehu Gaban, many others, we put our heads together and said that no, we are not going to continue with the way the PDP was being run, especially after the convention of December 2017. So we felt that, look, again, we have done our best for the PDP. So the best thing was to move on. And that's how we moved on to SDP. After we moved on to SDP, we did also our best. Again, I stepped out. Again, but people keep asking that, Alkali, there's no way, there are people you may know, you may not know, who are passionate about what you are doing. And now they are your followers. Now how can you go into the middle of the sea and abandon them? No matter whether you are interested or you are not interested, then it is important you continue making the sacrifice. so that you don't abandon those people who believe in you and believe in what you are doing.
Okay, key question here is we now have an amalgam of politicians from different political parties, akin to what happened during the formation of PDP. Don't you think now that you are on the other side, you are with the ruling party, here you are a storm gathering, you have quite a number of prominent politicians coming together in ADC. Do you see them as a threat to APC, which you belong to now?
Again, going back a little in history will also show us the direction how things happened. We mentioned how the PDP evolved through various tendencies that abandoned their own position, decided to fight for the country. But we also know that if the APC itself did not evolve overnight, it went into various stages, various phases. And thank God, the leading light of all those processes is the current president, President Tinubu, because he was able to galvanize some forces way back in 2006 to create the AC, Action Congress. I'm sure you are aware of that, which was given to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to contest as a presidential candidate. Again, after that one, the AC again transformed with the combination of NNPP and CPC and a faction of ABGA. Also created the initial base for the APC. Then subsequently, in 2013 to 2014, when there was this earthquake in the party, the PDP, then those who were actually major beneficiaries of the party, they decided to abandon the PDP and they moved into APC and strengthened the base of the APC with many governors, many senators, many members of House of Representatives. Yeah. So you could see APC came up solid with many governors, many members of House of Representatives, and so elected officials, even at the state level. Yeah. But what you are now trying to say here is that, although I don't want to preempt your questions, you
can go ahead. Yes.
No, what the current phase that you are talking about, the new coalition, is slightly different because there were either existing political parties or rump of parties that have been dissolved or been factionalized. These were the ones that were gathered together and formed the AC, and then later on the ACN, and then subsequently the APC. So most of these political parties came up with something on the table. Now what we have in here is a different approach. Now it's a coalition, yes, but if you notice, and that's part of the problem with the Labour Party and other political parties, they are not the ones that are involved in this process of coalition. Okay. It is the individuals that are coming out from these political parties who have their own names, who have their own background and their own sacrifice to the country, who decided to form this coalition. But if you see, even the PDP is not involved in this coalition. Because now it's like getting a competitor in any.
You have like the spokesperson of the ADC, now Bolaji Abdullahi.
So what I'm saying is that most of these, you can say about almost 70 to 80% of those who are now in the new coalition, it came from the PDP.
Do you think they will make a headway? Even though I don't think if you will like to answer that, but then what is the future of democracy in Nigeria, considering that people easily shift position? When you compare to maybe UK or US, you see people in one political party for decades. They don't really change. They can shift their belief in certain things, but they remain in one political party.
Well, I think given the nature of what we know about politics and the democracy in Western European countries and the US today, I don't think they are role models anymore. There are no more role models, especially what is happening as it is now in the US. So there's nothing wrong, Nigeria being one of the leading countries, Africa, to create a niche for itself, to create new tendency. What is important about what has happened so far is that all those who are moving out, you know, we are also...
You also move, sir, because from 1999 to date.
No. What I'm saying is that there is an evolution process. If you go back to 1960s, political parties were controlled by individuals. And basically regional political parties. Now,
like Zeke,
yes. So, but at least let's say by 79 rather, when the NPN emerged and the UPN emerged and the NPP, GMPP emerged, they gradually shifted away from regionalism, even though some of the political parties were still controlled by individuals. But now what you are seeing is that since 1998, 1999, the political party structure or system started moving from individuals and then regional based political party to national. Of course, in 1999, we could say that some of the political parties were regional based, like the APP, which are about 7 governors or 9 governors in the administrative state. So what you are saying here is that there is an evolution. Now all those who are moving from the political party moving to the new coalition, if you notice, they are also, what you can say is that they are not coming, there's an advantage now, which is a plus for APC, and not because I'm a member of the APC.
Yes, because that is the last question, because we have less than 1 minute to go now, so I want to ask this question since you want to talk about it. Do you think APC will retain power, going by the level of, disaffection in the country? Or do you think the coalition will also make or give back to any child with his?
I think the chances for APC are much brighter at the moment. Yes.
What are your reasons? Maybe one or two?
No, the reason is that simply when the PDP members wanted to move to APC, they came with governors. They came with about 39 members of House of Representatives. They came with about 11 senators. And then when they are moving back to APC in 2018, again they move with about 38 House of Representative members, 15 senators, and some governors. That's why we lost, for example, 2015. This mass movement forward and backward. So what I'm saying here is that who are the members of the Senate or senators or reps or governors that are now in the coalition? At the moment, none.
So they are opposing from position of weakness.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but what I know is that if we look at now, APC has 23 governors. That is 23 states, not only governors, but the entire structure, most of the state. Then you also have about the number of senators have moved from 56 in 2023 to almost 69 senators. Then you're talking about House of Representatives, which are about 176 in 2023. Now we are talking about almost 220, some say 210, some 250. So we are talking about almost over half of members of House of Reps. So we are not talking about House of Assembly. Yeah. So what we can say is the levels of power up to now favor the APC as it is.
Thank you very much, Professor Rufa'i Alkali, former National Publicity Secretary, PDP, a governorship aspirant on the same party, 2011, former special advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan on political matters, former national chairman of NNPP, now chieftain of the APC. Thank you for coming to the program. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, and viewers, we'll take a short break. When we return, the conversation commences with AIG. Don't go away.